Spotify.
I'll have this locker room thing open in case anyone joins.
Okay. Let's get this show on the road. Alright, let me put this link in the good old Patreon. Give us a second, people.
Is this, are we live on the YouTube thing?
Yeah, I'm putting the link into the Patreon for the good people. All right. All right. Welcome back to the Boys of 161st Street. This is an impromptu episode. We are testing out a app called Locker Room. It's a podcast app, basically just the audio version. You can have people come on stage with you and talk about the Yankees, and we like to talk about the Yankees. So we're going to start doing that along with the Patreon. So without further ado, how you doing, Damon?
Great.
This one's just going to be me and Damon today. We're just doing a little, we've been doing a lot of mini episodes, doing the roll calls, still regularly scheduled roll calls, but we were bored on a Saturday, and we thought, I posted this thing about the Hicks should be leadoff, change my mind thing. A lot of people agree with me. No, we didn't. I put up the poll, and people were like, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, like...
With most of the things that I usually say, they agree with. So
Yeah.
That's not really the case. People gave us shit for Gary stuff, but I think it's one of those things where it was like
That's so
only the
ridiculous.
Gary supporters were the ones that they're so like for Gary that they will they feel so strongly that they would comment on the Gary post.
Yeah, I don't really want to talk about Gary that much, but like
I'm just saying.
it's
People thought
so funny because I feel like I'm having deja vu right now because I feel like last year the same thing happened where he hits one home run and then everyone's
all right,
like,
enough.
he's
We're
a
not talking
starter.
about Gary. This isn't.
I know.
The
I
Gary
don't want to talk
episode.
about him, but
we're done talking
end up
about Gary.
him all the time.
But I am excited that he actually let's I'll clear the elephant out of the room for a second here because I'm happy for him. He's hitting well in spring training. We'll just hope it continues. And the potential is always there, and spring training isn't always like anything really, but he's definitely not playing bad. So it's not. It's a bad thing if you aren't doing this, and it's a nothing thing if you are doing it. That's just how spring training is. It'd be more of a story, honestly, if he was playing bad. So
Yeah.
he's not doing that, and that's good to see.
We want him to do well.
Yeah, of course we want him to do well. People think we want him to do
I know,
bad,
it's
which is
ridiculous.
just not true. And I don't want anybody to do bad on the Yankees, but I have to have a take on one of them, and I do have a take on, I don't think he's going to do well this year. That was my take. That doesn't mean I think that I want him to do horrible. So that's out of the way. We're talking about the lineup right now. We posted this thing, like I said, Hicks should be leadoff. And honestly, I put a poll up too to see, because you can't really tell what people or how many people are agreeing with you in the comments, because some people will say yes, some people will say no. So the silent majority of people will vote on a poll. And we voted on the poll, and I think it was around 70% agreed, 69%. Nice. 69. But 69% agreed with me. And I thought it was going to be a little bit of an outlandish take, but the reason why I think that this should be the case, and it should be how they're doing it, I don't know why we're so dead set on the lineup. You know what I mean? Like, Judge is batting 2, and there's no moving him, and everybody's like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well,
Is it? Does it work?
Is it broke? It could be broke. We didn't win the World Series. So I'm just thinking, it seems like there's something that's so set in stone that really, like, why is it so set in stone? Why not mess around with it? Like, Judge, for example, always batting 2 no matter what, which I'm not upset about that, but I'm also thinking to myself, like, what if we moved Hicks as the leadoff, because Hicks' OBP is 400 plus for his career, and his last 2 years was over 400 also. So the dude gets on base, he bats 225, but he walks like every single time. So honestly, that's why I want him in the leadoff spot, because his OBP, like if you're just gonna get on and he's not gonna get a hit at the high rate that DJ is, the hits, you want to have the hits when people are on, not only when you're a leadoff guy to get on. If you're gonna have a guy who just gets on, like because he's gonna get a walk and he's not gonna get a hit, then you're not wasting his spot in the 3-hole, which is where Boone thinks you're gonna put him. So if he's in the 3-hole and he's gonna walk, that's not necessarily gonna move the other 2 runners in front of him in, on, or over, or in.
Yep.
But if you have a guy like DJ who doesn't necessarily walk a lot, he swings at a lot of pitches out of the zone, in the zone, but he makes contact on them. And everybody knows how many times DJ will get hit. He's already right back in midseason form. Got like 3 hits the other day, 2, 3, I don't know what it was. But the main thought process behind this is that DJ needs people on base in front of him. And if he came in 3rd and 4th in MVP the last 2 years out of the leadoff spot. Could you imagine if he had runners in front of him, if he was batting 2, 3? Like, I'm not, and people are saying this is almost like a slight at DJ. Like, oh my God, we're not moving DJ out of that. Like, no, this is better for him, because he'll have 150 RBIs because he gets a hit, and Hicks will be on base every time. So that's my rationale.
The issue is like DJ LeMahieu is the perfect leadoff hitter, so it's kind of hard to take a guy out of that spot. But like I get that, but where
switch hitter too?
Yeah, but like where do you put? Where would you put DJ after that? At 2?
Literally 2. I think.
Well, 2 is like theoretically 2 is supposed to be your best hitter. That's like the logic.
DJ's
around.
our best hitter.
Yes, that's true.
Okay.
I'm not
another rare. Like, this is like we're supposed to have people who don't agree on radio. We're supposed to talk and try and
the
argue
thing
it
is,
out.
though, like I agree that it makes sense in theory, but when you really look at what's gonna happen, like DJ Mayhew gets on, his OBP is 421 last year. Like, that's insane.
DJ's OBP is that?
Like, how do you? It's just really hard to say that he shouldn't be the leadoff hitter because of that.
His OBP is that high, but his batting average was like 350. What was it? What did it end up being at the end of the year?
His batting average is 364.
Okay. So his OBP is not largely due to walks. So that's why I'm saying if he's going to get on that much, he's going to get just as many at-bats in the 2-hole, except Hicks is going to be on 400, like 40% of the time Hicks is on.
Yes, that's true. I think that here's the thing. I think that LeMahieu is going to be the, I
think DJ should be like 3, honestly.
Who?
DJ. Keep Judge at fucking 2 if they're locked onto that, and that's also not a slight at Judge. It's just DJ literally won the batting title, and he gets on more. He gets hits more than anybody else in the league, and he's clutch. We haven't even talked about the numbers of him with people on, because with runners in scoring position, they're even higher. It's like 400 plus batting average. So, I mean, I think this actually, we as Yankee fans have developed this like just acceptance for him being the leadoff, and that's that. And we didn't question it. Because why would you question it? He's doing so well, but why not put literally the best hitter with runners in scoring position in spots where he can always have runners in scoring position? All I'm asking is just literally, Hicks was supposed to be the 3. Why not just swap Hicks and DJ?
Because, yeah, maybe. But I also think that, like, I don't know, because Aaron Judge, what's his OBP? Let me pull it up real quick. Aaron Judge, his on-base percentage was 336 last year, and batting average 257. So he also walks a good amount too. My issue is like, Hicks gets on base, he walks, whatever, and then we have Judge up, and then we have LeMahieu up. Like, I just don't know if that's kind of like the right like power to contact ratio in a lineup, if that makes any sense at all. But like I also,
not really.
but I also don't feel like if LeMahieu is going to be a leadoff hitter, but let's just say he's going to be a leadoff hitter, I don't think Hicks should bat third
Why?
because I think he's again like you said he's primarily a walker, and we want people to get runs batted in.
So where would you put Hicks?
I'd put him a little bit lower, if I put him at like the 6th spot even.
You know he likes to do the we need a lefty or someone to break it up because we have so many righties. So that's why he's putting it up so high.
When you have such a right-handed heavy lineup, it doesn't fucking matter where you break that up.
Yeah, when you're at a point where you got 8 righty bats and you got 1 lefty or 2 lefties, it's really and now that Gardner's not going to be in the starting lineup, and now it's Clint over Gardner there, and that's another. Now we don't have Gardner to break things up because it was almost perfect because we used to have Gardner in like the back end. He would be like 7 or 8. Hicks would be in the 4 or 5, whatever it may be in that area, and then there's 2 breaks in the lineup, and then it's righty, lefty, righty, lefty, righty. And then
I'd honestly put right now. I'd probably put Luke Voigt at 3, and then put I'd probably swap. I'd probably swap Hicks and Voigt at this point. So then Voigt goes to 3 and Hicks goes to 5.
You just know that he already said he's going to be 3, Hicks. So
I know. I'm just saying.
We're just hypothetically talking about what we would do.
Yeah.
And I mean, I really don't see why DJ wouldn't be the 3. I think he's literally one of the best hitters, if not the best hitter in baseball with runners in scoring position. So why not like give the guy ample opportunities to have runners in scoring position? Yeah. And I don't even think that's unorthodox. I don't think that a 4 hitter would be a power hitter. But, like, why don't we just have Voigt be the 4 hitter and then Stanton be the 5? My ideal lineup that I would do, just off the top of my head, I would do Hicks leading off, gets on base, pimps the walks. Then I would do Judge because they have him cemented in the 2-hole for whatever reason. Then I would go DJ, Voigt, Stanton, Glaber, Clint, Gio. Did I miss anybody?
I don't know.
That's about what I would do.
Here are some crazy DJ LeMahieu stats real quick.
It's kind of wild that Gio is our 9
Here's why he
is.
supports the leadoff argument, because when there's nobody on base, he bats .394.
Yeah, and what is it when he has people on?
Runners on .302, and then runners.
That can't be true.
Okay, I'm looking at stats
from last year.
Yeah, this is last year. Last year's stats. Runners in scoring position though, .364.
That's what I was talking about, and that's in line with his regular batting average. But if you go back to 2019, remember his numbers were disgusting with runners in scoring position. Yeah, and it gets better with 2 outs, right?
.421.
Okay, so what are we even talking about here? He deserves to be the 3 hitter. I know it's not going to happen, but if I were Aaron Boone, which I am not, and I love Aaron Boone, get well soon, buddy. But if I were him, I would put Hicks as the 1 and DJ as the 3. And that's just that.
Yeah, runners in scoring position last year, he batted.
I forgot about Gary when I was talking about the lineup, too.
Gary? Oh,
shocker.
Whatever. But, like, right now, he's projected to bat last, which I don't like.
Gary?
Yeah.
No, he's not.
I mean, that's, like, the projected lineup as of now or whatever.
I mean, those bottom 4, like, you can really kind of do whatever you want with them. Not Glaber. Like, those bottom 3, Clint, Gary, and Gio, I don't really care what happens in the bottom, to be honest. That is completely up to, like, preference. Like, where do you want a power hitter mixed in with? I mean, they're all kind of power. I would put Gio in between the 2, I guess.
Yeah, but honestly, I'd put the guy who's at. I'd put whoever has the highest on base last. And then
double lead off.
Yeah, give that.
So I'd probably put Gio as the 9.
Give DJ an opportunity to get some runs in at that point. So Glaber's OBP last year was .350, Clint's was .328, Gio .327, Gary .302.
That's what I would do with the lineup. That's it for me on that. I mean, I just wanted to address the topic that I brought up yesterday. As Hicks should be the leadoff, and I don't see why not. And he got the swagger to get a game going, and that's that. So
it makes sense. I just think that it makes sense, but it's just so hard to justify not having LeMahieu leading off. Like, if he was just a little bit worse, then
He's not making it easy.
He's not making it easy to make
It is that
decision.
classic if it ain't broke, don't fix it type thing. But it could be so much better. It was why I wanted it to move. But moving on, that conversation ended up being a lot shorter than I thought it was because I was expecting you to give me a little bit of pushback, and you didn't at all. So one of the few times we agree on things. But
However, I do think the rest of the lineup can be switched around a lot.
Yeah. And I mean, they will, and injuries will happen. And then you got Talkman who will come in, Gardner will come in, and they play with the lefty-righty bats with them, and they'll probably be towards the middle of the lineup when they should be in the back end based on just how they are as hitters. But
here's
to break
the thing,
it up.
though. Like, when you look at LeMahieu and Hicks, I really think that those are the two guys who really can be moved around because I feel like everyone else just, like, is a very similar hitter. They're all kind of like power first, gapper hitters. And like Hicks and LeMahieu are the only people who have like little niches about them. Like Hicks is that switch hitter who can walk a lot, and LeMahieu is just a hitting machine who gets on base all the time. Everyone else kind of like you can kind of pick straws because they're gonna have not similar stats, but like similar productivity out of them.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's probably going to be the same lineup it's been, but I was just trying to have some fun and see some potential people we can move around. But I wanted to talk about the little bit of a overreaction Saturday and talk a little bit about what we've seen at spring training. Right now, we haven't been doing spring training episodes. We've been just doing the roll calls, and that's kind of been it. And that's kind of by design by us because we don't. It's a lot of overreacting when you talk about what happened in spring training, and there's really not much happening, and the games aren't really televised. But I'd be lying if I said I wasn't aroused by that Corey Kluber start. I mean, That was just again what I said before about spring training. It doesn't matter unless you do bad, and if you do good, great. But like, it still doesn't matter. It's still spring. If you're doing horrible, that's the only time it really matters. But even then, you can say we're just knocking off the rust. Like Garrett Cole gave up some home runs, and as to be expected against the Tigers, who are apparently the Tigers and G-Man Chili are the two people who beat up on him.
Yeah.
And he gives up tons of home runs, and that's just because one, it's spring training, and two, he's just getting in the swing of things. He's testing the fastball out. And that's kind of been the story. We'll talk about that more on his roll call episode, which is going to be released. That's actually the last one, so spoiler alert. It's not. We actually lined it up nicely because it's the last one, and then he pitches the next day. So that's how we lined it up with his roll call. But I'm not going to overreact to that. I'm not going to overreact to Gary hitting the home runs. I'm not going to overreact. The only thing that I am a little bit happy to see, not little bit, I am very happy to see it, is the Kluber and the Tyon things because they're coming off injuries, and it's just nice to see that their arms didn't fall off. It's like that's what you like to see. I mean, and the velocity was up too.
I mean, that's what, like, I think me personally, like, that's what I was really looking forward to watching most of spring training was those guys pitch because they're going to be massive to this roster and this rotation, and just seeing them, like, it's almost like a little bit of a sigh of relief. It's like, okay, like they went out there and
we got through this day. Yeah. We got through today.
They pitched. They got some
one day at a time.
strikeouts. They look okay. Their arm didn't fall off. It looks like promising so far.
And Tyon pitched today. I have no idea what happened today because it wasn't televised again. I hate that.
Yeah, I know. He had 2 innings pitched. I think he had 2 hits. He got into a couple.
How do you know this?
I was looking at it before.
You got a guy with the flip phone?
Yeah.
Live stream. That's how I was watching so many of the highlights about just overall spring training of the ones that weren't even televised too, just like on YouTube. Half the shit on YouTube is somebody like streaming it from their phone. Murph sent us that stream of the night Kluber was pitching, and it was some girl, like, I don't even know what her name was, but she was streaming it on Twitter just from her phone. The homie, like, you're helping everybody else out, but I didn't open it. Did you?
No, but
I'm sure it was.
But JMO, I think he walked a couple of people, bases loaded, but got out of it. So he pitched himself into a jam, but got out of it.
And threw 7 pitches last time.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3.
And then he went to the bullpen, finished off, broke a sweat, which you like to see.
Yeah, it's good to see that they're pitching and they're like doing decent right now after not pitching for years.
That's it. Yeah,
That's
nothing else about it. Nothing like to.
It's an appropriate
read
reaction
from this.
It's a sigh of
Which is
relief.
kind of why we don't want to do these episodes. That's why we do the roll calls, because it gives us real shit to talk about versus overreacting about a little things that do happen. And I mean, this is a nice little check-in. So it's just to check in on you guys and give us our reaction to what's going on so far. And it's just we're at that point in spring training where I was so excited that baseball's back, and now it's just like, okay, this is just give me the real thing. This is like just April 1st, where are you? We're going to spring training on the 18th. So if any of you guys are down there, we'll 6 feet away from you, but we'll say hi. We won't like high five or anything, share a beer, but we'll definitely swing by, DM us if you're around town. But we're gonna catch a game there, record the rest of the roll calls, and have some fun. Do a little fantasy draft action. But yeah, I'm excited. That's the only thing I'm looking forward to. I mean, of course, I'm still gonna watch the games, but I just want the season to start already. And
Yeah, I feel like
think we're going to opening day. I'm not sure.
Who knows anymore?
The Yankees ticket office has been in shambles with. If you guys found tickets anywhere, let us know how you got them, because I don't know what the hell's going on with the tickets. So if you're selling too, I'll buy. Buying a lot of things right now. A lot of baseball cards. A lot of Glaber. If you guys are into baseball cards, we're just talking about anything right now. If you guys are into baseball cards, load up on Glaber right now. Lock it in. And Juan Soto. Juan Soto is probably going to win MVP this year. He's my favorite non-Yankee baseball player.
He's a hard guy not to like.
Yep. Well, I think that'll do it for me. We just wanted to talk a little bit about the lineup construction and chat a little bit about the Yankees. If you are listening to this on the podcast feed, we did this live on Patreon, so patreon.com/161boys is where to find that. If you're already a patron, we love you. You guys are great. You also, in addition to the live shows, you also get, we're going to start doing an extra podcast a week just about the MLB. You get a monthly giveaway from Ice in My Pinstripes. Go check him out at Ice in My Pinstripes on Instagram. He has some really cool vintage Yankee stuff that he's always selling. And if you're a patron for $2 a month, you get a giveaway. Like one of you guys, one lucky patron is going to get a new thing every month. And last month it was a really cool World Series, I think it was 98 hat that we gave away. A cool snapback.
Those things fly. I literally look at those things on Instagram and they're gone in 2 seconds.
I know. It's crazy.
It's actually crazy.
It makes sense. They're fire
I want to
stuff.
buy all of them, but I'm just
I do too. I just got to restrain myself a little bit, but got to give you guys a chance to swallow them up. I do want to get like that like starter jacket that he had. But anyway, yeah, patreon.com, you get a chance to win one of those, and I think there's about 10 people, so your odds are pretty good, so get in while you can.
Yeah.
Gonna do it every month. Gonna do pregame shows for games whenever we can, live trivia all the time. We're big trivia guys. And yeah, a lot of other stuff to come. And if you guys think of anything else that we could do, we'll do it as well. So if you're listening on the podcast app, I can't speak. Give us a 5-star rating because we love